used and abused. Living Dangerously looks at life after football when the fame and glory are gone. And now, Disposable Heroes, the other side of football.
All over America, everything stops on the 4th of July, on Christmas, Labor Day, and Super Sunday. On this day, Super Bowl 18 will be played for the largest television audience ever to watch a sporting event. The Los Angeles Raiders, for the moment, the best football players in the world. Highly skilled, highly paid, they are superb young athletes at the peak of physical strength and stamina. A few have played for 10 or 15 years. But on the average, careers in the NFL last only 4.5 years. Injuries, age, and fierce competition take their toll. Soon, too soon, these men will be ex-football players. They have dedicated the better part of their lives to becoming masters of the game. Yet, before their 26th birthday, most will be forced to leave the game forever.
I'm straightening him out. I'm stringing him out. There's nothing I can do outside the tight end. I understand that. The thing is, Teddy got hooked down here. I had a perfect angle. I told him to widen out, and what he said was...
Theismann back, looks off to the left, and he fires it out there. Intercepted! Jack Strolek! Touchdown Raiders! I don't believe it! Holy Toledo!
Each year, 1 million kids play football in high school, 40,000 in college, but only the best 1,600 make it to the NFL. Virtually all of them learned their dangerous and exotic trade in college, but 74% never received their college degree. Many will enter civilian life with few marketable skills. Most will be plagued with football injuries for the rest of their lives.
Convince the world that we're world champions, and there's no doubt about it. No, who's going to take my picture? Football is very, very good to us. No, we knew they got a good defensive line. We just knew we had to go out there and physically pound on them, and that's what we like to do. Isn't that great, huh?
One man who played far longer than most is the legendary Double O, Jim Otto, Raiders center for 16 years.
Jim Otto, I guess the greatest all-pro center that's ever played this game, and you were here with your football team. All of a sudden, now you're here in a suit. Would you fit in with this offensive line? Kind of hide in there a little bit.
Well, I played at about 263, so I could have probably been in David's shoes. He's in my shoes, basically the same as I was at the time. I could fit in there.
In the early years of its existence, the American Football League was a motley collection of paperweight defensive tackles, tortoise-quick wide receivers, players of dubious talent, and one 200-pound offensive center. Now only the 200-pound offensive center remains, and while the league gained in stature, he has put on 55 pounds of muscle. The man is the last of the original Oakland Raiders, Double O, Jim Otto. His record is remarkable, for today marks his 205th consecutive starting assignment.
Jim Otto was an Iron Man. Jim Otto prided himself. I'm going to start, I'm going to play, I'm going to be there in the middle every game.
Hold him down there, baby!
But an Iron Man pays for it later. Through college in the first part of professional football, I may have had 30 concussions. I've broken my nose maybe 25 times. I broke my jaw, I had teeth kicked out. I detached the retina in my right eye. I have 2 cauliflower ears from getting kicked in the side of the head where the helmet would crash, and now the cartilage in the ear here is turned like to bone on both ears, and it's very hard. And 2 elbow operations, where I had to have both my elbows operated and fixed up. Several broken ribs at various different times, torn muscles, groin pulls, back injuries, just a lot of different sprained ankles. At different times, my ankles would be sprained. Injuries such as maybe tearing your diaphragm off the ilium, where it attaches down here on the ilium. You get kicked in the side. It's like a hip pointer, only a little worse, because it actually does. You do get a tear in the diaphragm, and the diaphragm is a muscle that helps you breathe. And, golly, just a lot of different little bruises and bumps and Charlie horses. Both my kneecaps have been broken.
He earned himself a place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 150 stitches in his face. And under the skin of his left knee lies a plastic and metal artificial joint. Jim Otto hasn't played football in 10 years. But the pounding and twisting have left virtually every joint in his body arthritic. Now, at 46, he's a successful businessman. But he can barely sit or stand for any length of time. He cannot run, jog, ride a bicycle, or dance with his wife.
If you walked into the Raider locker room 10 years ago, you would have seen a guy that lives, sleeps, eats, drinks football. You could always recognize him because he always was bleeding. He had blood all over his face. His nose was always cut. His fingers were always twisted. And he went through a lot of pain. But he loved playing so much that he just didn't know when to give it up. He loved it just that much. And you could always recognize him because he was always there.
I know many times during the night I was up every 20 minutes putting new ice packs on his knees. And I never even gave it a second thought. I just did it because I knew that he had to be ready for the game the next week.
Next month, he must enter the hospital for back surgery or risk partial paralysis. It will be Jim's 13th football-related operation.
Jim, how do you feel in the morning when you wake up?
I feel like I got hit by a truck.
I wanted to be that person, like Johnny Unitas or Jim Otto. And I made up my mind that I was going to be that all-American, tall American, you know, the thing from Kellogg's Cornflakes. That stuck with me. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, was be an all-American football player.
Roger Stillwell became that all-American. He might have become another Jim Otto.
A junior coming back for more Stanford football is Roger Stillwell, number 91. Stillwell for UPI All-American.
In 1975, Stillwell was drafted by the Chicago Bears. He had made it to the NFL.
Trophy winner John Capoletti.
Roger Stillwell was a tremendous athlete. He came from a school and a university which wasn't known for defensive linemen, and he was one of the best to ever come out of there.
My 1975 season as a rookie was tremendously successful, and I had success that usually only first-round draft picks are accorded. In 1976, we played the Oakland Raiders, and I knew that everybody in the world was going to be watching me, and they were expecting something big from me.
As Oakland discovered on its first series, number 71, Roger Stillwell, is one reason the Bears ranked second to San Francisco in sacks in the entire league. Stillwell is an interesting story. A consensus All-American at Stanford, he has blossomed along with the rest of
For me, I knew at that point that my career was going to be successful and that I was as good as the best in the league. So it was a significant moment for me.
I was a cheerleader from as far back as I can remember. I always seemed to go with the football star, and when I met Roger, I thought, great, this man, I love him and I adore him, and my life is going to be exciting, and we're going to go to fun places and have money to spend and, just lead a carefree, thrilling life, and it didn't end up that way at all.
He played only 4 seasons. In 1979, sidelined with severe knee and back injuries, Roger Stillwell read in the paper that he had been cut by the Chicago Bears. At 26, his career was over.
Living Dangerously will continue in a moment on A&E.
This program is brought to you in part by Blue Diamond Growers and by Ford.
Blue Diamond almond growers know their almonds are always a main attraction. In fact, folks love the taste so much, they munch them just about anywhere. Blue Diamond almonds, anytime, anywhere.
Aren't you guys the Blue Diamond almond growers?
That's right.
Thanks.
And a week, that's all we ask.
Seems fair to me.
This sedan offers a refreshing blend of form and function. And if you like its form, wait until you experience its function. Ford Tempo. A more sophisticated way to express your driving ambition.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Where is it written that paradise has to be tropical? Certainly not in the Colorado Vacation Guide. It has everything you need to see paradise. A skier's paradise. Call 1-800-433-2656 for your free copy. Then call Continental, the official airline of Colorado.
One was named Wilbur, the other Orville. 2 brothers who shared a belief. A belief that when the fundamentals of aeronautics were properly applied, man could fly. At Raytheon, we haven't forgotten their lesson. Consider the revolutionary new Starship from Beech Aircraft, a Raytheon company. Many of the fundamentals are the same as the one built by Wilbur and Orville. Raytheon, where quality starts with fundamentals.
Living Dangerously returns to Disposable Heroes, the other side of football.
It's been 6 years since Roger played football. Now he goes to physical therapy 5 days a week, struggling to rebuild his body.
They don't contemplate any more surgeries on that knee.
Like Jim Otto, he has arthritis. His knees and back are crippled. He has endured 8 operations and will face another within the year.
I'll have an arthrogram done in the next few weeks on my right knee.
All broken down, Roger.
That's the hardest thing I have to do. I started to put my shoes on.
So you can't put your own shoes on?
No, I can't bend over that far. And this brace really prevents me from, it really sticks me.
Stillwell is 32 years old. He has difficulty supporting his family. He lives in constant pain.
All right. I'll probably be back at 1:45.
Okay. I must have kicked 1,000 footballs for him to catch and run with. I threw him 1,000,000 passes for him to catch and run with. I used to stand behind the goalpost and shag footballs as he kicked them through the goal. It's been sadness seeing a man of that physical capability completely crippled and hobbled and trying to compete in a world that where a disabled person is really at a disadvantage. And there's just no doubt about it, he is disabled, and his future prospects are rather frightening.
Every fall, thousands of young men go off to play NCAA college football. Many, like Jimmy, dream of making it to the NFL.
Good. That'll build up all these muscles right in here, and that's what's very important in football. You got to build up all this right in here. That's your driving muscles. For driving, you hit a guy, you drive him off the line, and this is where it comes from, right in here.
There's a factory out there called NCAA. They're producing replacement parts every year. And those replacement parts come in on the assembly line, 336 draft choices every season. And they're out for your job. So we are replaceable. We're only interchangeable parts.
Like everybody else, I guess the favorites. Washington looks like they're stout, awfully stout. And unfortunately,
The East-West All-Star Game, where the best college seniors in the country are gathered together under the watchful eyes of pro scouts. Here, scouts and agents outnumber players 2-to-1.
it's a gamble, but he's a good risk. I like it. No, he's a fine little competitor.
This is the scouts' last chance to size up next year's NFL rookies. For these players, payday is just around the corner.
Center from Texas. Oh, yeah. You missed his block. You missed it. He did. He missed it again.
Here, a missed block or a great catch can affect a player's value in the pro draft. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are at stake.
I did feel like I was in a meat market, and that everywhere that I went, people were sizing me up, and this entire experience of being chased after by professional scouts, by agents, by people from the bowl games, the all-star games, I started to really feel like a piece of meat.
I don't know whether it's his left elbow or left wrist, but that will have to be checked out with our orthopedic surgeon.
They're still college kids, but the next time they play football, they'll be professionals. A few will also be millionaires.
That's a hell of a catch. Yeah, that's a heck of a catch. I like that, Bill. I like that.
Little fellow with a lot of speed and great hands.
How do you pick a first rounder or a guy that's going to make your squad? Any guy that'll make my wife sit up on the end of her seat, that's a talent. That means he'll be a winner.
That's a pretty doggone good meat market if you can go up $1 million by looking good. Because they're in college and they aren't getting paid any money. Legally, they're not getting paid any money. And they know that their payday is coming. And the difference between a first-round draft choice and a second or third round draft, that's drastic money. That's big money. My first few years of pro football, I had played for nothing. I can remember the first time they took a picture of me as a pro and said, this is going to be on a bubblegum card. I said, wow, I finally made the big time.
Jim Otto saw thousands of men come and go as he fought his way through 16 seasons of pro ball. Finally, in 1975, age and injury caught up with Double O.
This was the last game I ever played, and right there, I played well, but I didn't want to go out not playing well. And I knew that I couldn't play well with the way the knee was. So I decided to retire.
And he retired because he was afraid that year his knees were bad. And he said to me, you know I could play at least 8 games, but if I can't make the whole season and then I have to be benched and Dalby come in, the timing of the whole offensive line and the whole offense is off. And he said, I can't let the team down that way.
When Jim Otto stepped down, Dave Dalby won the starting job at center and has held on to it for 9 years. Now, 5 knee operations later, he's the old pro.
That's what's so tough about football. People don't understand is that there's always a constant pressure every year. I mean, there's a player coming after your position from the colleges every year. There's 1,200 graduates, or I don't know how many there are, but they all want your job, and there's only 26 of them.
Jim Romano, 23, came to the Raiders from Penn State. He's after Dave Dalby's job.
David, as far as he wants, he'll play forever, probably. You know, they're going to have to drag him out of the locker room. His fingernails are going to be caught in the rug. But, hey, his fingers are better. Fine with me. He can retire tomorrow, and I'll come to his retirement party.
When you talk professional football, you don't talk job security. It's something that you don't know if you're going to be here today or gone tomorrow, or you're going to be injured, or you're going to be maimed for life, you're going to be dead. Someone over your shoulder is going to take your position.
When you first start playing, you think it's forever. You're healthy, you're feeling good, you're on top of the world, and so you sort of say, I should be able to play this game until I want to quit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not often that way.
To survive, a pro ball player has to be tougher than his opponent and tougher than the guy behind him. In a given season, he stands an 80% chance of injury. The injured player has two choices. He can play hurt, often with the aid of pain-killing drugs, and risk more severe injury, or he can sit on the bench and risk losing his job to a healthier player. It's a no-win situation.
In college, if you were injured, you didn't play, at least at Stanford. And at most of the reputable universities, if you were injured, you did not play. And there was relatively no worry that somebody was going to come up through the system and beat you out. In the NFL, you're always looking over your shoulder because you're disposable. You know, you're dispensable. You're just not needed. If you don't pay the price and continue to go, then they'll get somebody else in there to replace you.
I think Roger thought that it was expected of him to play and to play well even when he was injured, and all the players were like that, to the point where I could hardly stand to watch the games anymore because I knew that he had been injured and he shouldn't be out there playing.
Living Dangerously will continue in a moment on A&E.
BASF videotape. No matter how many times you play it or record over it, even after 500 plays, the original brilliance always comes through on BASF.
A newly imported car has arrived. It comes from a company with a reputation for quality and design, and the automotive press here has already begun to praise it for its performance, styling, and value. The interesting thing is that here is Japan, and the car they're importing is the Ford Taurus.
Now get a $500 cash bonus on Ford Taurus.
My friends, they dragged me to this really trendy restaurant, you know. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect roast beef. No, roast beef. So what? Does this mean I've been trendy my whole life?
I got a taste for some real food.
Announcing a dramatic breakthrough in shaving technology. The new Remington Microscreen Ultimate shaves as close as a blade and closer than any other electric shaver, or your money back. The Ultimate's exclusive beard lifter gets whiskers other shavers leave behind. And like all Remington Microscreen shavers, the first screen shaves incredibly close, the second even closer. Try the new Remington Ultimate now. It will shave you as close as a blade and closer than any other electric shaver, or your money back.
You don't have to fly to Tokyo to have a talk with your brother, because a 10-minute call to Japan can average just 95 cents a minute. Don't let another day fly by without a call. AT&T International Long Distance.
You can whisper sweet nothings to your favorite Parisian for next to nothing, because a 10-minute call to France can average just 71 cents a minute. Be a sweetheart and give her a call. AT&T International Long Distance.
Meet the men and women who help protect America when Chronicle goes along on a B-52 mission on A&E.
Monday. Living Dangerously returns to Disposable Heroes, the other side of football.
When the ball was hiked, I exploded off on the ball. I've got this running back here, and I'm holding him up, and I'm trying to take him down. And these guys all crashed into my left side here, while Yeri had my foot pinned to the ground. And that kind of started the process. I could feel my knee starting to give. You know, I could feel the bands, the ligaments, and the tendons in there starting to quiver. And it's like taking a rubber band and pulling it until it can't go anymore. And then that same feeling that I had the very first time of a chicken bone just going. I ended up on the bottom of the pile with 11 people piled on top of me with my left foot close by my ear here, and just the most hideous, just awful feeling of my leg, just feeling like it's exploding apart like this. I can feel the muscles tearing, the tendons snap and pop, and I'm laying on the bottom of the pile, and we're laying there, and I can't get anybody off of me. And as we got up, they got up one by one, and I pulled my leg back around like that, and it started to go into shock, which means I didn't have any feeling. That red-hot feeling of pain starts diminishing, and that football mentality took over again and said, hey, Raj, you know, maybe nothing's wrong. You know, let's see, let's get up here. So I get up there, and I turn around in the huddle, and they call the play, and I turn back around, and I start to walk over to where my position is, and I'm thinking, my mind is racing. I'm going, oh, God, please, like that. And I take my first step on my leg, and it goes, you know, it's just totally unstable. And I just turned around, and my eyes were just, you know, I'm welling up with tears like this, and I just look around at everybody's. I just said, I got to go, and I walked off the field. And, you know, I just sat there just crying for the rest of the game, not for myself out of pity, but because I had just lost that attachment that I had to that group of guys that I'd worked so hard for and with for 3 years. You know, that achievement of being one out of 1,100 people in the world to play professional football, and it was all over in an instant. That play I described must have taken me 30, 40 seconds to describe. It was, you know, bam, like that. There goes the running back. Here I go this way, and it's all over with, and I'm laying on my back, and my career is laying there on the bottom of a pile.
You knew, I mean, I knew in my gut that this was a real serious hit, even though he got up and walked off the field. There was just a brief shot of his face as he limped away, and I knew that it was the end, really. In my heart, I think I knew from that moment.
And here I am, and all of a sudden I'm not going to have that comradeship anymore, and that's one of the most important things to a football player is the bonds that develop and the friendships and the tightness. And, you know, what makes a football player is that you go out there every day and you sacrifice and you work your butt off and you give 100%, not for yourself, but you do it for your teammates, and that's what draws you close. It's a sacrifice, and the coaches screaming at you and, you know, all that stuff. I miss that so bad. I miss that comradeship. I miss having Mike as my roommate. I miss having him to talk to. There's nobody else, you know, even Kyle. They don't understand what I've been through in my life. And these guys know that. And all of a sudden, it's just gone.
The cruelest thing is it has to end. At 30, at 31, you realize that, hey, I am not what I once, was. In sports, you come to that realization at a very, young time in your life, and I've seen it be sad and cruel.
I never played football again. Never. I rehabilitated myself as best I could for 3 years. I'm still doing it for 3 straight years. And I never once stepped on a football field. So I lost it.
When football ended, he was like a little child, a young boy out in a big world that he knew nothing about. Once he was hurt, he was disposed of.
A player feels abandoned. You've lost that caretaker, that great caretaker, the person who's setting everything up and allowing these neat things to happen for you. And all of a sudden, that's all gone, and you have no idea how to do it.
Most athletes never have to make a decision in their life. From the time from high school through college, through professional ball, he very seldom makes a decision. His high school, the coaches help him with his decisions. They help him with his classes. His college is picked for him. I mean, someone decides that that's the best college for you to attend. Your pro team in football, you're drafted. So you go to that team. You never make a decision there. You never make a decision about how much you weigh, how much you eat, what time you go to bed.
How to dress, what time to be at a meeting.
When lights are out and, when they have their rest period.
Even in the off season and their spare time to be ready to play, they have to do X amount of push-ups. They have to work out X amount of time a day.
So in most cases, when an athlete is really asked to make a decision, he doesn't have any training. He hadn't made any decision, so he really doesn't know how to make one.
Well, I think it becomes a problem with athletes because they've been so regimented. They've been so, everything has been planned out for them, be here.
It's a very restricted, regimented life, like going off to Boy Scout camp.
We'd like to welcome you here. We count on you guys to be really an outstanding freshman team. Now, the rest of you find your coaches. The offensive line over there. The defensive ends are down there. The linebackers over here. The running backs and receivers right over here.
From about 7:15 to about 8 o'clock. I'm going to meet with Boyd about lifting.
Okay. You're going to get your explanation on it? That's cool. But you don't get no free time. No free time now. Your free time is over.
Well, you're looking.
By the time he reaches the pros, a player has at least 8 years training behind him. 8 years of regimentation. In college, he can spend as much as 60 hours a week learning and playing football, all under the tight control of coaches and trainers.
Everything about our lives are dictated through the administration and the coaching staff. You begin to wait for these commands, and you're programmed into waiting. And then all of a sudden, you're out the door and no one calls you and tells you anything.
What am I going to do with the rest of my life? Football's over. Where do I go from here? How do I start?
Well, the problem is, what are you going to do to feel good about yourself? See, expressing yourself on an athletic field has been what we've done. What Christ said. From the time I can think, I was running a ball or chasing a ball, and is what I always wanted to do. And the big goal was to make it on a professional level and to, be a star. When you lose it, it's not the money, it's what you're doing.
I felt like a terrible misfit. Here I am, I've got pride. I mean, I accomplished something that
1,100 people in the world did out of, you know, billions and billions of people. I was one of 1,100 people who could do this thing and do it well. And all of a sudden, I don't belong anywhere. The team's not going to help. I've already interviewed with these companies and people who, they said, hey, these guys are friendly towards us. They've done us favors. They're not going to help.
Living Dangerously will continue in a moment on A&E.
London fog's got you covered. We brighten gray days and warm, cold nights. And always look great doing it. There's a lot of your life in a London fog.
The cyclone. The whip. The hurricane. Some call Aerolacine a test track. To us, it's an amusement park. And when a car can handle the rides here, we give it a special name. We call it a Volkswagen. German engineering the Volkswagen way.
You know, it was great growing up on our ranch in Oklahoma. And now when I walk into a New York City restaurant and order up a little bitty Kansas City strip, makes me feel right at home.
Oh, I've got a taste for some real food.
Premiering Tuesday, November 22nd on A&E, Kennedys Don't Cry.
There is one family that personified the American dream. For decades, the story of America revolved around the lives and death of its members. At times, in their fabulous lives, they appeared the very masters of time and chance. Their triumphs and their tragedies have touched millions. These are the Kennedys. This is their story. The Kennedys became the first family to elect 3 sons to the United States Senate. They brought a family approach to American politics. One for all and all for one.
Don't miss the premiere of Kennedys Don't Cry, Tuesday, November 22nd at 9 on A&E.
Living Dangerously returns to Disposable Heroes, the other side of football.
It's a real fallacy that ex-pro ball players or ex-American heroes are offered all these wonderful and fabulous opportunities. At least in Roger's case, no one came knocking on our door.
You got to realize that half the guys who don't prepare and they step off the football field, all of a sudden the car dealer was giving them a car to drive the car. You know? Everybody would say, hey, man, come by. But you didn't have the time to come by as a player. You can't find them. They don't have time for you when you retire.
With his handicaps and seemingly endless operations, Roger has been able to work only sporadically since leaving the Bears. Kyle's income helps support the family.
Howdy, Irene. This is Roger. Have you got anything for me today?
And Roger earns what he can, selling insurance by telephone.
Right. No checks? All right.
Financially, the Ottos are better off than the Stillwells.
That's all right. Okay. Good.
I'll bring it in.
All right.
My face on it.
Capitalizing on the image of Double O, Jim and Sally successfully operate 3 Burger King restaurants in Northern California.
What's your name?
Jim is something of a local celebrity, signing autographs, showing off his trophies, telling stories. Still a Raider.
Why don't you play football anymore?
Because I'm worn out. My knees wore out, and I couldn't play anymore. I couldn't run.
How old are you?
I'm old enough to be your daddy.
Good day, sir. How you doing?
How are you?
Evan Harrington, good to see you.
Nice to meet you. I got one sock off with my cane, but I can't get the other one.
All right. What I need to do is to ask you a bunch of questions. I guess you've been through this before, have you not?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, tell me when you had your first injury, and let's just sort of go through it that way. When your first injury, what it was, and so on.
My first knee injury was when I was 18 years old as a freshman at the university.
Okay.
It was the medial collateral ligament on the right knee.
Okay.
And then the second knee injury was my sophomore year to the left knee. The same thing. It was a meniscus.
Okay.
Both medial.
Those
then,
both operated on, I presume.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had 5 surgeries total from college on my right knee, 4 surgeries total from college on my left knee.
Okay.
This one here is there's a prosthesis in here.
Okay.
And it's
total knee or?
It's a partial. It's the medial half.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm going to have a total knee put in January in this one.
Okay.
The knees actually, I think, have screwed up my back. I can't exercise. All the quads have atrophied, and I don't have any strength.
All right, that's enough.
Well, there's a lot of things I guess the guy could pick apart, but I've had my share. I paid my price.
All right, was it worth it?
Well, I can't do anything today. That part was not worth it. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed football. It was my game. But right today, I can't be on my feet to work or anything. And
I think basically he has a life that's going to be one of more or less continuing pain, which, as I say, is partly psychological because he's been an active athletic at a high level of athletic competition for years, and now he has a hard time walking, much less doing anything more than walking. And he was talking about he'd look forward for years to teaching his son football, and when his son got to be the age where he could reasonably take advantage of that, he could hardly walk. This guy is a classic example of the price that many of these people have to pay, and I think in his case, the price is far in excess of the benefit he got. All the way up.
That was the bite.
And just come back. Let me sort of move it back and forth. And just try to relax it as much as you can.
That hurts.
Where does that hurt you? In the front of the knee or
all around, to the medial to the back.
Okay, all right. I got an anterior cruciate that just is totally gone. Sorry. And again, try to let it relax. Okay.
I should have been a doctor. I could have been helping people now instead of having people having to help me. The doctor and I are the same age, and he's just beginning his career, really. He can be a doctor for many, many years to come. And my career ended 9 years ago.
Come on, Hornets, let's go! Concentrate!
Stillwell's career ended 6 years ago. Like Otto, his own playing days are history, but his knowledge and love of the game survive.
If you hit him harder than he hits you, it will not hurt a bit. I guarantee it.
To remain a part of the sport he knew so well, Roger has volunteered as a coach at the local high school.
The Devil Pile Intruders are running. Better, much better. Take him on, take him on, take him on. Heads up. Good job. Take him on. That's it. Good, Dave. Arm under, all right. Everybody take a knee.
The presentation is
now.
in honor of dedicating the...
Let's get over Cam right now. Let's put these guys so far behind that everybody can play, and it becomes fun.
Come on, you guys.
We get the ball first, and we've got to go out there, and we have to execute. We have to drive the ball down their throats. Now's the game to develop that killer instinct to go for the throat and to just end it all. Let's blow them away. Good job, buddy.
I've been trying to figure out why Roger would still want to participate in football. All I can figure out is that it's just a totally man-on-man sport. but I feel the price you pay for football is much too high.
For the past 6 years, Stillwell has had to ice his knee and back 7 days a week, 6 times a day. He'll probably endure this regimen for the rest of his life. Every day he takes medication to control inflammation and ease the pain. Saturdays are the worst, after the game.
Is that about the right spot?
And when I get home from a football game, after applying all the ice to the proper appendages, I sit here in my chair, and I am completely wiped out. I'm exhausted. It's like I'm wrecked, and I try to stay up. I want to do something. I just will not be able to do it.
This is what's so sad and what's so hard to think about is here's this son that I love so much, and he can't be the man that he should be. He's been robbed of it.
Living Dangerously will continue in a moment on A&E.
BASF videotape. No matter how many times you play it, we'll play it again. Even after 500 plays, the original brilliance always comes through on BASF.
What happened when Sony put this color TV and full-featured VCR into this machine? They shrunk. Introducing Sony Video Walkman. It takes video out of your home and into your life.
Hey, how'd it go on the new job, son?
Not bad. You know, they asked me to a meeting today.
They asked the union.
Yeah. It was a meeting on how we can improve quality. Well, they want to know what I thought.
It's not like it was when I was on the line.
You know, I had a pretty good idea.
3 GM makes were rated as the best-built 1988 American cars by their owners in the latest J.D. Power Initial Quality Survey.
Blue Diamond almond growers know their almonds are always a main attraction. In fact, folks love the taste so much, they munch them just about anywhere. Blue Diamond almonds, anytime, anywhere.
Aren't you guys the Blue Diamond almond growers?
That's right.
Thanks.
Can a week, that's all we ask.
Seems fair to me.
Even in the world's most beautiful playgrounds, things don't always go so beautifully. So get Visa Gold, because we'll not only provide automatic car rental insurance for you, we'll deliver emergency cash and a new Visa Gold right to you, anywhere. And emergency cash is something American Express just can't deliver. Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
On Wednesdays and Saturdays, witness the thrill of Living Dangerously, A&E's real-life adventure series where the stakes are always high. Living Dangerously. Living Dangerously returns to Disposable Heroes, the other side of football.
Altogether, Jim Otto played organized football for 24 years. The constant pounding finally, years later, has caused discs in his back to rupture. This is Jim's 13th major operation. But in an average year, surgeons will perform more than 40,000 operations on active players in high school, college, and pro ball. No one knows how many retired players will need surgery this year. No one keeps track. It is now estimated that all retired players suffer from spinal compression. Only time will tell how many, like Jim Otto, will require spinal surgery.
Jim had always been very reluctant to have anyone touching his spine for any reason, and he put off the back surgery as long as he possibly could. When our son saw Jim after his back surgery, that's the first time that he's ever been to the hospital when Jim's had surgery, and he collapsed when he saw Jim. He just couldn't believe how bad Jim looked and the pain that he was in, and he just collapsed.
At Utah State, Jim Otto Jr., number 96, made the varsity as a freshman. He's a linebacker, and on punts, snaps the ball from center, like his dad.
When I see my son playing football now in college, naturally I worry about him as far as injuries could be. I don't want to see him become injured like I was.
For the next 4 years, Jim and Sally will crisscross the United States, going to every one of Jim Jr.'s games.
I gave Jimmy a big shot.
Oh, well, thank you.
Jimmy finished this game unhurt. Others were not so lucky.
I was telling him there had to be a record for knee injuries in one half. There were 4 all in the third quarter. And it looks like 3 of them are out for the year.
4 knee injuries in the third quarter. But in an average year, players in high school, college, and professional football will suffer 125,000 knee injuries. Of those, 30,000 will require surgery.
Hey, good luck.
Every year, nearly 500,000 American men are injured playing football.
I feel with Jimmy that it's his decision, whatever he wants to do. He's as aware as I am of the injuries that Jim's incurred playing football, and that's really up to him. I feel like I have known men who have told me that their mothers forbid them to play football, and they've been very resentful about it their whole life. And Jimmy, growing up in a football family, to forbid him to play football because I don't want him to be injured like his dad, he would hate me.
Right now, we're battling as to whether our son, will play football. And I just, Roger loves the sport, thinks it's great, and, wants him to. And I'm so afraid to, even subject my son to what I've seen Roger go through and how it's affected our lives.
Nice tackle. Where's your football?
I'm not going to stop my son from playing football because it's a great game and I got a lot out of it. If I can guide him and help him and train him and get him to do all the right things, the only thing that can happen then is an accident and you can get hurt stepping off the curb outside.
Nice pass. You ready to catch?
Yeah. No, they have to tackle you.
Okay. I'm the quarterback?
And the quarterback.
Fumble. Get the ball.
I got it.
There you run.
Yes, Daddy.
My turn to tackle you. Come on. Gonna be a fighter. Catch. Nice tackle. You got the ball. Oh no, he's gonna score. Go for 6. All right. Anybody who's ever played the game of football in the National Football League would want to come back and play again. Sure, the rest of their life is gone from them. My active life is gone. I can't do things anymore either. But I would go back and do it again, and I'll guarantee you that 99 and 44, 100% of them would do it.
But when I dream, hey, it's the old me. I'm out there on the field, I'm playing, maybe I'm escaping into fantasy land or something, but I'm out there, and I am doing it.
Next on A&E, get a glimpse of tomorrow's important filmmakers today on Short Stories. A woman recalls her first heartbreak in An Ounce of Cure, and a beautiful woman wreaks havoc in Femme Fatale.